Welcome to Football with Cheese. So right as I published my video about the AFC North and the NFC North, the Cooper Kupp agrees to terms with the Seattle Seahawks. I thought about making a video. It was late Friday. Sun was about to set. I'm like, I'll just wait till the morning. So we're going to go over Cooper Kupp in this video. Plus we're going to go over the Dallas Cowboys, what's been going on with them. So make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Let's start with Cooper Kupp and the Seahawks first. I understand why they signed him. After trading DK Metcalf, they needed a receiver. Probably still need another one. Strange fit, though. Cooper Kupp is from Washington State. He went to Eastern Washington. It's the team he grew up rooting for. So that makes sense. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba, which is by far their best receiver before this signing, fits best in the slot. And that's where Cooper Kupp plays. So JSN's going to have to move outside. Obviously, he doesn't mind if you play with Cooper Kupp, if you saw his tweet. So it should not be an issue. They also signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling to be their speed threat. I still think they need another outside receiver. Jake Bobo, he's okay. But they can find one in maybe the second round of the draft. They have 2 second-round picks. They have their own, and obviously they have Pittsburgh's in the DK Metcalf trade. So what Seattle has to do is draft offensive line. They signed Sam Darnold, who had success last year when he wasn't pressured. When the pressure got at him, his last 2 games, it was a disaster. And except for left tackle, Seattle has a horrible offensive line. Charles Cross had a really good year at left tackle. You can literally replace any other spot on that line. The right tackle, Lucas, he's okay. The 3 interior spots are bad. It's the worst guard group in the NFL. Greg Zabel might be there at 18 from North Dakota State. That would be a really good pick. He can play center or guard. But they have got to get Darnold some help on that offensive line, or it won't work. It doesn't matter how many receivers they get. You have to have offensive line in this NFL. But like I said, the Broncos actually were involved late. That's a team I thought was the best fit. And the Saints and Cowboys were the other teams listed. The Jaguars, surprisingly, were not in on him. Rams fans cannot be happy about this. Cooper Kupp's been one of the faces of the franchise, maybe the face of the franchise, since Aaron Donald retired. And then he goes to the rival Seahawks. The Rams and Seahawks tied at 10-7 last year. Rams made the playoffs, won the division because they won the tiebreak. But they finished with the same record. So that rivalry will be fun to watch this coming season. And I mentioned Dallas was involved with Cooper Kupp. Dallas could absolutely use a receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb. But apparently they weren't willing to go to $15 million a year. Let's talk about the Cowboys. They've been a very successful franchise until the last 30 years or so. They won a couple Super Bowls in the 70s. They won 3 and 4 years in the mid-90s. Since then, in the last 29 years, they've won 5 playoff games. The Eagles won 4 playoff games this year. And there's a reason. And his name is Jerry Jones. What Jerry Jones apparently does is when he's trying to extend his players or sign outside free agents, he tries to play that star on your helmet means something. Being a Cowboy means something. You should take less. You should take less money because you can be a Cowboy. That's Jerry. That's what he does. And it used to work. It did. It used to work. But when you haven't been successful in a long time, and they make the playoffs a lot. It's not like they haven't made the playoffs, because you can't have playoff wins if you never make the playoffs. But the Cowboys do make the playoffs majority of the time. They've had Tony Romo. They had Dak Prescott now. They've had good quarterback play, minus like a Quincy Carter and a Chad Hutchinson in there. But for the most part, they've had a franchise quarterback. Now, obviously, part of it, and I'll link the video in the end, in this box up here. Obviously, the coaching situation's been bad. They've had Dave Campo, Chan Gailey, Jason Garrett. They had Bill Parcells and still couldn't win playoff games. But they've had some bad coaches. Obviously, Mike McCarthy was terrible. But those 90s teams were not built by Jerry Jones. They were built by Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson came over from University of Miami to be the head coach and general manager. He traded Herschel Walker for a bunch of picks. He traded back, and he built a young core. And then he re-signed most of those players. And there's a reason Dallas won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls, because they had the best players. The 49ers also had really good teams back then. But Dallas were loaded. Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman. I could go on and on. Darren Woodson. Those teams were so good. And they signed Deion Sanders as a free agent. And then Jimmy Johnson couldn't get along with Jerry Jones. And the rumor was that Jerry Jones was mad that Jimmy Johnson was getting all the credit. So Jimmy Johnson leaves. They do win one more Super Bowl after he leaves, just because the team was talented. It wasn't because Barry Switzer was a good head coach, because he wasn't. He was not a good head coach. And ever since then, it's been about Jerry. And Jerry has been the general manager and the owner. And he's just not done a good job. Is he the worst drafting GM? No, he's not. He's had some success picking first-round picks. You can look it up. Not so much later in the draft. Dak Prescott, I believe, was a 4th-round pick. That was obviously a great pick. But Jerry's philosophy is the same as Jimmy Johnson. Draft and develop. Draft players, re-sign the key ones, let the other ones go, and replace them in the draft. That strategy is the right strategy, in my opinion. But it only works if 2 things happen. 1, you have to draft year in, year out. You have 2 bad drafts in a row, your team is not going to be good. You can maybe get away with 1 bad draft if the next 2 or 3 are really good. So you can't have back-to-back bad drafts. And you have to re-sign your own players. And what Jerry has done as far as re-signing his own players is he's waiting too long. He wants them to take a Cowboy discount. And with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott especially, he could have had them for way cheaper, but he waited until he had to sign them and then paid them a lot more than he could have had them for, because he had to keep them. He lost the leverage, and it's happening again with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is going to want more than $40 million a year, and Jerry's going to want him to take a Cowboy discount. And that Cowboy discount, that star in your helmet, does not have the same impact anymore. And Jerry needs to realize that, and he doesn't, because he lives in his own bubble. Jerry's all about Jerry. He still thinks the Cowboys are one of the best franchises in the NFL. They're not. And I know Cowboy fans watching this might be getting mad at me. But here's the thing. They have not been to a Super Bowl in 30 years. That's just a fact. And Jerry Jones is the problem. Everyone has been saying for years, not just me, what I'm about to say, he should hire a general manager that knows what he's doing. But Jerry's stubborn. It's all about him. He owns a team. He can do whatever he wants. And 2 players have expressed frustration when they were in Dallas. Jordan Lewis is a corner. Just signed with Jacksonville. Said it's been a decade-long frustration in Dallas. DeMarcus Lawrence, who's an edge rusher now on the Seahawks, who I think got overpaid, said never going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas. And I would not have said that because it will hurt your legacy as a Cowboy. But I understand why he said it. I don't know if you're going to win in Seattle either. We'll see. But the point is, these are 2 good players that had negative experience being a Cowboy. And Jerry needs to understand what's happening. And he needs to fix it. Because the last 2 drafts have not been good for Dallas. Mazi Smith in the 1st round 2 years ago. I don't think anyone I know had him in the top 50. And you took him in the 20s. So, Jerry, you hit on CeeDee Lamb, you hit on Micah Parsons, you hit on Dak Prescott. That's good, but you have to hit on those every year if you're not going to sign outside free agents. And you have to respect the players more. And Jerry has to realize that star in the helmet does not mean what it used to be. Let me know your thoughts on the Cowboys, on the Cooper Kupp signing. Comment down below. Make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss a video. Hit the bell for notifications. If you have not checked out, this is the Brian Schottenheimer hiring video, and here's my AFC North video as well. The AFC East and NFC East free free agent recap video should be out today, and the South video will do tomorrow. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.